Hello, kids. We're back again.
And we're reading.
Where's the book?
Reading.
What are we reading?
Mr. Happy.
Mr. Happy. Let's bring him a little bit closer tonight, yeah? There we go. We're reading, guys. Ooh. We're reading.
And
What have you got there?
and I got sweets.
Oh my
For you.
gosh. You've got them for the children.
Hello.
Isn't that kind? Shall we
And
see
it's
what's
mine.
Shall we see what sweets we've got?
Yeah.
We've got, show you guys, 3 sweets. 1, Mawam, say Mawam. Mawam. 2, these are my favourite, these. What flavour's this? Cherry. And 3, pink raspberry. Which, don't snatch. It's naughty to snatch, isn't it? We don't want to snatch. I'm not going to eat any. Which one do you want first? This one?
Yeah.
Shall we put the other 2 down there near the children? Do you want one? Take it. Go on. Take it. Go on. Take it. Go on. Take it. Go on. Okay. So tonight, guys, we are reading Mr.
And this is my sweet. Do you want to eat them? Okay. La 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 la.
Tonight, guys, we are reading Mr. Happy. Can you be happy? Can you be happy? Hello, guys. It's
Hello,
us
guys.
again. You can do that. And you, look at them. Look at that. Can you do that? Look at them.
Yeah.
It's good. Great. Mr. Happy finds a hobby. Do you know what a hobby is, though? A hobby is something that we like to do in our spare time. If we get any spare time. Yeah? We have hobbies for people who have spare time. Like horse riding.
Let's start a book now. Okay.
Mr. Happy is a happy sort of fellow. He lives in Happy Land, that's better, which is a happy sort of place. Behind his house is a wood full of happy birds, and on the other side of the wood there's a full lake of happy fish, hundreds of them.
Maybe reading this book.
No, he looks happy, this fish. He's got a smiley face.
Him.
Oh, well, he would do. He is Mr. Happy. Now, one day, not that long ago, Mr. Happy went for a walk down through the wood, the deep, dark wood. As he came to the shore of the lake, he heard an unusual sound. A sound that is seldom heard in Happy Land. Seldom means it's not often heard. It's another word. It's quite a grown-up word, that is, from Mr. Manbook. It was the sound of somebody moaning and grumbling.
Oh, but Mr. I don't believe it. Look at this. What am I gonna do? I don't know it. Hey, Minnie, I wanna go to sleep. I'm hungry. I need a drink.
Mr. Happy peered around the tree trunk. Who do you think was there? Who do you think's there? Who's moaning behind this tree? Shall we look? At the edge of the lake, there was somebody fishing. Fishing and grumbling. And grumbling and fishing. It's Mr. Grumble, guys.
Oh, I don't know it. I'm never gonna catch a fish. I've been here for 12 hours. I'm so cold.
Good morning, Mr. Grumble, said Mr. Happy. Shh, said Mr. Grumble. Sorry, whispered Mr. Happy. Have you caught anything?
Yes, I've caught a cold.
Grumbled Mr. Grumble.
I've been sitting here all night and I hate fishing.
Then why are you fishing? Asked Mr. Happy.
Because Mr. Quiet said it was fun. You see, I'm trying to find something that I enjoy doing. Something I can call a hobby.
Wait, a bit of your hair then? So long. Pondered Mr. Happy. I might be able to help. Come on, let's see if we can find you a hobby. As they walked along, Mr. Happy thought long and hard, as he thought Mr. Grumble grumbled.
Oh, I know what you're about.
Fluff.
He grumbled. Fluff, that's your hair. It's your hair. Yuck. He grumbled about the noise that the birds were making. He grumbled about having to walk.
Oh, my leg. I can't walk anymore. I used to get down.
But most of all, he grumbled about not having a hobby. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Have you got a hobby? What do you like doing in your spare time, Amber? Tell the children. Tell the children. You like painting, don't you? She likes painting. First of all, they met Mr. Rush in his car. Mr. Happy explained what they were doing. What's your hobby? Asked Mr. Grumble. Speed, 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 said Mr. Rush. Hop in. And they did. Mr. Grumble very quickly decided that he didn't like going fast.
Hold on, guys.
Zoom. He's actually holding his hat. He's going so fast. Isn't he? He's going really fast.
Oh, look at me. My hand slowed down, so please.
Next, they met little Miss Giggles. What's your hobby? Asked Mr. Grumble. So they went to the circus to see the clowns. Little Miss Giggled giggled. All the time, Mr. Happy laughed and Mr. Grumble frowned. I hate custard pies, said Mr. Grumble. Don't eat that. Guys, we don't want to eat the wrapper. Do you like custard? You do? Oh, I don't. Do you like custard?
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Sorry about this. There's the picture of the clown. Thank you. Right. Where did we get to? It proved to be a very long day for Mr. Happy. They went everywhere. To little Miss Splendid's house, but Mr. Grumble did not like hats.
I don't like it. It's on my head, making my head warm.
They went to Mr. Mischief's house, but Mr. Grumble did not like practical jokes. They bounced with Mr. Bounced.
Sorry, kids.
Sorry, kids. And they looked
Yeah,
through.
yeah,
And
yeah.
bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, 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 bang, bang,
Bang,
bang.
bang, 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 bang. Like a bouncy ball. Bang, 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 bang. And they look through the keyholes. Can you do that? If you get your hand, make it round like this. That's it. Do it round. And then just with one eye, not two, look through the keyhole. Like, close the other eye. Look at the keyhole through there. What can you see? They were looking through the keyholes with Mr. Nosy. But nothing was right. We still haven't found a hobby, have we, for Mr. Happy? Nothing was right. In fact, nothing was left. Mr. Happy had run out of ideas. As the sun was setting, they saw Mr. Impossible coming towards them down the lane. Here he comes. Mr. Impossible. Yeah? Now, if anybody can help us, that's somebody out. That somebody ought to be Mr. Impossible, said Mr. Happy. Hello, he said. You're good at impossible. Can you think of a hobby that Mr. Grumble would enjoy? That
Painting.
is impossible, said Mr. Yes, he might have. He might like painting, Amber. That's a good answer. Yes, said Mr. Happy and Mr. Grumble together. Would be impossible, said Mr. Impossible. Oh, growled Mr. Grumble, and he stomped off home. Can you go,
So, kid. Someone just doing that.
It was whilst drinking a cup of tea the next morning that Mr. Happy had an idea. A perfectly obvious idea. He rushed round to Mr. Grumble's house. I've got it, cried Mr. Happy. You can take up fishing. Fishing? But I hate fishing. I know, but what do you do while you're fishing? Asked Mr. Happy. I don't know. You grumble, said Mr. Happy. And what do you like doing most of all? Well, I like... Hang on. I like grumbling, he said. Mr. Grumble looked at Mr. Happy, and then for the first time in a very long time, they smiled, both.
Get it off.
Smiled. Look at that. I think they've done it. A very small smile, but a smile at the same time. We finally found Mr. Happy a hobby. What was the hobby that we found him? Hello? Anybody there? What was the hobby, kids, that we found him? What was the hobby? Say fishing. Fishing. Fishing, it was fishing. Okay. Are you going to say goodbye to the kids now we've done the story? Dear me. Right, if you can say goodbye to the kids, then we can get on eating this sweet. I'm not really sure what you've done with this, but we're going to have a problem getting this one out. Hang on. Oh, God. These horrible things. Look at it. Oh. Oh. Yuck.